Hello, U.S. history students. This is Mrs. Thomas, and I'm going to be going over some information for you today regarding your Unit 7 constructed response portion of the test. So we're going to bring you into your course and get you started with where to locate this information so that you can start preparing your answer for when the test opens on Thursday. So let's go ahead and take a look at the content tab. Once you go into the course, you want to click on content. When it loads, you want to click on Unit 7 and go to week 15. You should be working on Wednesday, May 3rd work, and you'll notice that the title says Unit 7 CR Info. If you click on Wednesday's material, you'll notice that the rubric, the grading rubric for the CR for Unit 7 is listed there. And also listed will be this video, direction slides that will be made available for you from the slides that I'm going to review with you now. There's the prompt where you're going to type out your response for the CR and save it onto your computer so that you don't lose your work before entering it into Linkit. And then there is the actual document version of the rubric that is posted here. So you will be able to see all that information. I am going to share my slide deck here just for ease of use to go over the directions with you all together. So let's go ahead and take a look at the CR together. If we were in live session together, we would have a warm up and all those things, but today as an asynchronous activity, we're just asking you to consider what types of things that you should be doing in order to best prepare yourself for completing the CR. What can you do to best put forth your best effort and make sure that your writing is as solid as it can be. So we are going to go over some of these ideas. You should be thinking about using outlines, establishing a rough draft before you finalize and submit. We do not suggest that you write directly in Linkit without thinking about your response first, and that you should be using all information from Unit 7 in our course and nothing external of that. It is usually helpful to read your information out loud and to read it to someone or have somebody else look it over to edit, as well as you going over it yourself. Today's objective is to give you the chance to be able to gather evidence from content of Unit 7 to accurately respond to a CR prompt and answer using the race writing strategy and the other methods such as graphic organizers that we have here in the course for you. Our unit essential question has been, what should be America's role in world affairs? And that's going to directly tie into your CR. We've been talking about the CR for Unit 7 since we started the actual unit quite some time ago. So you'll probably be very familiar if you've been listening consistently in class to what the prompt will be. In Unit 7, we have discussed 4 types of policies on the foreign policy spectrum. First, you're going to choose one of the policy types in the spectrum itself and define it. Second, you're going to identify how that event demonstrates the policy type you choose, and then you're going to assess its impact on our relations with other nations. You're going to use evidence from the provided texts and live sessions from the course to write at least a one well-developed paragraph. Now, within the course where we went, you saw in Unit 7 on Wednesday, May 3rd, right over here, you saw that we had the Unit 7 CR slides, the prompt, and the writing rubric available for you there. So that is where you're going for all your information, including this recording. The rest of these slides are slides that will be available to you to go through on your own in order to assist you with writing the CR. You'll see things like the race graphic organizer to help you organize your thoughts and how your paragraph or multiple paragraphs should be organized to answer, with restating the question, answering the question, citing the source, and explaining. So we've broken that down for you. And what I would like you to do as you are going through and working on this first initial part is identify the 3 parts or 3 actions that you're being asked to do in the CR. So I'm going to go ahead and read through this, and I want you to pause at each point where you find an action. In Unit 7, we have discussed 4 types of policies on the foreign policy spectrum. First, choose one of the policy types above and define it. Okay, that is the first action that you should have. So go ahead and pause the recording and highlight what you should be looking at. What is the first action? Good. If you're restarting it, it should be choose one of the policy types in the foreign policy spectrum. Now, the foreign policy spectrum will be included in the CR response for you. You'll actually be able to see it, and we will have it as it looks right here. We'll have it in there for you in the CR itself and in the prompt and in Linkit. So you'll have it all right there at your disposal. Second, identify a U.S. history event from this unit and explain how that event demonstrates the policy type you chose. Okay, so pause the recording here and then find what your second action will be. Okay, now that you've got the recording going again, the second one is that you want to explain how the event you chose demonstrates that policy type. Okay, so very clearly we have 2 so far. You're choosing a policy type, and then you're explaining how an event that you chose is demonstrating that policy type. The last part is to assess. Okay, assess its impact on relations with other nations. So you are choosing, you're explaining, and you're going to assess the impact. Okay, so those are the 3 actions that you're focusing on in your prompt. You can use that to help dissect the process that you are going to go by to write this. To start off with a intro sentence, what you want to do is restate the question. So your prompt intro should, or your introduction to answer the prompt should always be closely related to what specifically you are being asked. So we have given you a slide here in which to do that with the prompt on it to give you a space to generate your first restated statement, your restated sentence, and connecting it to the prompt itself. The second part is to answer the questions. So in order to do this, you have to first identify what you need to answer the prompt. And there are a couple things that you need. The first thing you need to do is identify which foreign policy type you're going to use in the CR. Are you going to choose maybe isolationism? Maybe you're going to choose collective security or internationalism or imperialism. You do need to make sure that you have the correct definitions for each of these. So if we put these into place, we see that the definitions will help us determine what we're probably most comfortable with to choose, but you can choose any of these. Once you've chosen your item, your strategy on the foreign policy spectrum, you're going to define it. Okay, so if I were choosing collective security, I would have to say, I believe the United States should have the role of collective security in foreign affairs. This is what collective security is, and that is how I would move forward. Okay, so I would have to do both of those things. I would have to state what my choice was and then define what collective security actually is. Now, you cannot just copy the definitions that we've given you. You need to explain that in your own words. Once you have done this, there'll be a spot here to put that initial part of your answer. So you can put the choice that you made for the strategy on the foreign policy spectrum along with your definition. Then you want to choose events that are going to help you prove why that policy on the foreign policy spectrum is the best. And these are all of the major events that we've gone over in Unit 7. You must pick events from this timeline to support why you think whatever you chose from the spectrum is the best. So if you chose collective security, use examples from the timeline to show why collective security is the best role for the United States in foreign policy. So to kind of help you outline this and put this together, what you want to do next after this portion where you're choosing your foreign policy style and defining it, then you want to choose an event that's going to illustrate why that's the best, give details on it, explain how the U.S. was acting in accordance to that policy. So if it's collective security, why was that event collective security? And then what you need to do is explain how that event and policy impacted our relations with other nations. What did it change for us? How did it change our future? How did it change their future? What did it mean? Why was it important for those countries in general? Okay, so those are probably the two most important graphic organizers that you're going to be using to orchestrate or put together and organize your response. It'll be this one, helping you answer the first two parts, and then this one here, walking you through how to use each event to cite information that's going to support your choice. Okay, just reminders on how to use your outlines and how outlines can help you prepare a better answer. So these resources and graphic organizers are in here, and a reminder that we have writing resources within the course. In the table of contents underneath course materials, you'll see writing resources there where you have a proofreading checklist, the hamburger paragraph graphic organizer, and the informative writing graphic organizer as well. We also show how an outline can be used in order to generate actual sentences. So to go from an outline with just phrases and ideas and putting it into actual complete sentences and wording. Okay. Once you have gone through and you've decided, you gathered your event, you know where you are in the foreign policy spectrum, and you have all your information, you do need to state to your teacher where you got that information. It must be from the course. It cannot be information that has anything to do with an external source. So if you're mentioning an event that we didn't talk about, if you're mentioning details about an event that we did not talk about, we are going to question where you got that, and it will not be acceptable as information or evidence for the CR. Okay, where are you getting your information? You want to check your study guides and find out whatever event you chose on the timeline over here. You want to find those events on your study guide, find those questions, and use your study guides to find out what lesson we went over that information and what textbook pages are available to help you locate those. So use your study guides as a place to track down where to get your information. Okay, and explain what it all means. In your conclusion, it shouldn't just be a reiteration of your intro sentence. You should be saying, this shows, this proves, this means that. Make sure to include that statement. Hamburger paragraph graphic organizer is in here, as well as the rubric for your resources. And there is a checklist as well, asking you to define, explain, and assess all of the 3 steps that we identified before. Okay, make sure you include an intro and conclusion as well. How are you feeling about it at this point? Let us know if you're feeling nervous, you have a question, you're not quite sure after going over the details here of what to do. Make sure you go over this in detail first, though. If you're bringing questions to your instructor, make sure they are specific and not just, I don't know what to do. If we do get I don't know what to do questions, we're going to ask that you go back and listen to this recording in its entirety and go through the slides and bring to us specific questions. But we hope that this recording got you prepared enough to start putting your answers together. All right, so this is what is coming up. This is what's next. You are on Wednesday, May 3rd, and we have just gone through the video for the constructed response. Tomorrow we will be together in a live session for our test review, and Friday will be a work day. We are out of the office all days this week except for Thursday, both Mrs. Force and I. So we wish you luck with starting the CR and looking through this info. Email us with any questions you might have. Good luck, everyone.